The saga of Quest Update v77 causing issues on headsets is continuing, with more back and forth now between the heads of Meta, developers, and people complaining on the Bird app. Meta's still pushing forward with updates to the headset, new future headsets, games, and a whole bunch of other stuff coming down the Quest pipeline. Let's talk about it. In news last week, we talked to you about all the goods and the bads that were coming out with Update v77, this new navigator feature that's supposedly going to make navigating your Quest even easier, make it more user-friendly to people who are new to VR or new to the Quest. But it seems like with Quest v77 Update, there has been more issues that people are citing than fixes or exciting upgrades. Boz was being questioned about this on Twitter and Instagram, and in his latest Ask Me Anything on Instagram, he acknowledged that they knew there was bugs in v77, and for reasons that he keeps saying he cannot say the actual reasons, they had to push the update out anyways.
For reasons I can't get into, we had to roll anyways. Now people say, how could you do it? Well, these bugs don't affect a huge number of people. They do affect devs, which I care about a lot.
They claim it is a small number of people, especially developers, that are having these issues, but that they are doing their work and trying to solve it as fast as they can. And these aren't just the bugs that users are experiencing with the new Navigator, but these are bugs at the core of the operating system. Things that could be major issues for a game, things like audio crackling, the audio cutting out when it switches to pass-through, video decoders not working, and codec issues that were supposed to not be there in the build that are showing up again. This is a big reason why the public test channel exists, a program we've mentioned many times here. The public test channel allows you to get Quest updates early, report bugs, and help them figure these things out before it launches to the mass public. But with people on Twitter complaining, saying, good job ignoring all the reports during the public test channel and still pushing your update out anyways. At least Boz did acknowledge that people are mad at him, and he even said for good reason, citing that the quality control hasn't been where they need it to be.
Our quality control hasn't been where we need it to be. These last few releases, I made a comment about that a release ago.
And never giving a definitive reason, but saying they had to push this update even with its bugs to the millions of headsets out in the world. With all that going on, how is v77 going for you? I personally have found the Navigator is causing me problems. As someone who records a lot of content in the headset, the camera icon being in the middle of the play space, being there all the time and causing issues if I need to reach something in the game that is right where that is has been an issue. We showed you where Assassin32 showed us how his headset, you couldn't even get to a game without opening Horizon Worlds first. If you're a developer though, it sounds like you might be having a lot more serious issues. I'd love to hear about them in the comments. But bugs and issues aside, Meta is still looking to the future, and we've got more data mining, possibly bringing up the features of their next headset. Now, when we say next headset, we're no longer talking the Quest 4. If you missed the news, the headsets that were believed to be the Quest 4, the Pismo High and the Pismo Low, that would basically replace the 3S and the 3, have been either canceled or delayed until 2027 or maybe even further notice. And Meta is prioritizing shipping an ultra lightweight, open periphery Horizon OS headset that would have a tethered compute puck. So this means we're looking at something kind of like a cable like the Apple Vision Pro has to a puck that is possibly the battery and all of the computational power. And then the Wall Street reported that this new headset could be less than $1,000, and we saw reports that Meta was talking to firms like Disney and A24 about getting immersive video content out for it. And of course, Luna, famous code scrubber, is looking to the future of Horizon OS v78, which will probably roll while there's still bugs happening from v77, but references to an automatic IPD adjustment and face unlock on this super lightweight tethered headset. And when we say tethered, it would only be tethered at least to some sort of a brick that Meta is hoping will fit in your pocket, meaning that those glasses could be very lightweight at 110 grams, putting these glasses weighing just roughly twice the amount that the current Meta Ray-Bans weigh. An automatic IPD adjustment is not something we're unfamiliar with. We've seen headsets that do it, and it's much simpler for people who are new to VR, new to headsets, and it would make this headset something that would really work for a lot more people. And then, of course, sadly, it's Bradley, another leaker, claims that they are testing 0.9-inch micro OLED displays, which are smaller than even what the big screen uses, but means we could get all those benefits with the high contrast, better colors. But all this is still potentially in testing, so the price and all this may not be final. What do you need to see in this headset to pay $1,000 for it though? If you're hearing all this news about future upcoming headsets and you're still wishing you had one right now, there is some giveaways going on. Asterion Products, a longtime supporter of the channel, asked to partner up with us and give away a Quest 3. And so far, there's less than 500 people that have entered this one. If you want to enter, you'll have a pretty good chance of winning it. There'll be a link below in the comments and description. We actually just had our big, huge giveaway end, and we will be picking a winner and announcing that winner here shortly. And then I've got news that there is something coming up. We're partnering up. FitXR wants to do some stuff with us and maybe give away a bunch of headsets. So keep your eyes out for that. I'll keep you updated here. And if we can get news in the next couple days, we'll make a video announcing the winner of the last one, remind you about this Asterion one, and then tell you about this FitXR one that's coming up. In a surprise announcement at the Summer Games Fest, a Deadpool VR game is coming officially from Marvel exclusively to the Quest 3 and Quest 3S. And if you missed the trailer, you thought, wow, that sounds pretty Ryan Reynolds-ish.
Oh, hi, new friend.
But not quite. It's Neil Patrick Harris. NPH is voicing Deadpool this time around. A surprisingly close match. And thanks to Eagle Docs 2 out there for alerting me. There's also a pretty funny trailer. We'll show you a few moments of it here, where they nodded to the fact that NPH took the role here.
Today, I learned a lesson about buttholes they don't teach you in medical school. People who steal your signature role are the biggest buttholes of all.
But if you missed the big news, there is also some gameplay, and some people, not us, got to go to a early tryout of this and try out the gameplay. So there's a couple videos floating around out there from creators of their impressions so far. It's great to be reporting good news on what big IPs are coming. We talked about some of the other ones that are coming, but hopefully that means we'll have another good holiday season, even if we don't get a new VR headset this year. A bit of a heartwarming story here I wanted to tell you real quick. As we were talking about Eagle Docs 2, who's a very active member of the VR community, his 6-year-old grandson had a birthday coming up, and Grandpa wanted to get him a special present as he's been playing Merlin's chess with him. He talked to the developers, and they actually created a button inside of the game briefly that said, press this button if you are Nathan, on his birthday. And when he pressed the button, it told him happy birthday in it. This is just a really cool story I wanted to share because that is so neat when developers go out of their way to do that. I remember back in the day, developers of another game called Boxed Out made this secret island you could find that had a shout out to a bunch of the people that had helped them, given them ideas, and creators that had covered their game, put their names in there too. It's always neat to see developers doing these kinds of little details and things for people. And when the Merlin's chess field is, they didn't know that anyone was going to talk about it at all, so it really shows that they went out of their way to make someone's life special and happy, and I thought that was just really cool. Meta promised a few years ago at Connect they were going to try and make things easier on developers, and although the recent update making things harder for developers is not staying true to that promise, they do seem to be trying to at least make things easier to become a developer. Meta launched a Spatial SDK this last year and has been making continuous improvements to it. Basically now, if people want to use the Horizon OS UI inside of their apps and not necessarily use Unity, they can do this. They can use interfaces and buttons that are already built into the Quest so that they don't have to create their own, saving time in this. Really improving non-game Quest experiences too, such as utility apps, and ultimately making for a bit more of a consistent experience across apps if they're using the same buttons and same interfaces we're used to already in Horizon OS. You keep changing it by adding things like Navigator and everything else. This, as we also saw, developers can now actually access your camera pass-through, although that did raise a lot of privacy concerns. There's a much longer breakdown if you are a developer, an aspiring developer. I'll leave a link to the breakdown in case you want to read into this more and learn more about it, as it gets pretty technical, but it's good to see that they are following through on some of their promises about helping developers. Wherever you land on the side of the AI debate that's going on, it is showing very promising futures for people who want to be able to develop games but don't have the time or resources to create environments all by themselves. And of course, it's happening in Meta Horizon Worlds. Love it or hate it, the app that Meta is trying to be their open world VR oasis. And we talked about this briefly before, but even since early access launch, creators in the US were able to use this to make their own sound effects, ambient audio, and just making it easier than having to source sound effects or pay for them somewhere else. And now even just word prompts are going to be able to create entire worlds around you. It uses Meta's Llama 4 model, and it's also trying to introduce the ability to create voice-only AI-enabled NPCs. Creating your own Horizon world might be easier than ever here soon. The question is, how will you get people to come hang out in it? Years ago, Mark Zuckerberg announced that Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was coming to VR, and then after years of silence, they finally said it's been shelved. Well, the Grand Theft Auto game you may not have wanted looks like it is coming in the form of Grand Theft Animals, a crime sandbox experience by the same studio that made DigiGods, a really popular game already. Grand Theft Animals is basically a GTA-style open-world game. Cops, crime, questionable goods. So you are an ape-like creature feeding into the whole guerrilla-based gaming we've talked about so many times. It reminds me of a GTA style game I tried really early in the days of the channel. But what do you think? Is the love of GTA enough to get over another guerrilla tag-like game and play this? More and more we're seeing social sandbox type games taking over VR, and I Am Cat is now becoming just one of those. One of the biggest sandbox games ever to hit Quest, now adding multiplayer mode with a new maritime playground, you and up to 19 other cats hanging out on the sea. Of course, adding all the things that people love to see in their favorite games, such as cosmetics and skins and hats and glasses and paid characters you can buy. Is this the future of all gaming? Some big news for a game that has still remained pay to play. Even as many people have thought it should go free to play and rely on its DLCs, Beat Saber has 10 million Quest owners who have completed at least one track, meaning at least 10 million quests are out there and have played Beat Saber long enough to get that achievement of one song. And apparently that's where Beat Saber is going to put its focus, because they are ending PlayStation VR and PSVR 2 support. No new content on the PSVR or the PSVR 2, and multiplayer is going to shut down on both headsets in January. Another painful blow to the PSVR realm, especially as it seems like the PSVR 2 has been getting a little more traction. We won't cover it hugely in this news, but there is an announcement that the Apple Vision Pro is going to be able to use PSVR 2 controllers, meaning maybe more gaming on the Apple Vision Pro. Although I will say the PSVR 2 controllers are built so light that they're going to feel cheap in comparison to an Apple Vision Pro headset. But with all that, there's more news going on out there. What is going on in your VR world? What are you excited for? What's coming up? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to say thank you once again for being here with me, and I'll see you in another reality.
All your dreams of being inside me come true in VR.